you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Put your hands up and fight.
You were looking without seeing. It's not like you were lying, but someone had it playing. From what you could find, just hiding inside. You're ready, always free. Now you're looking and you're seeing. Your every choice is fine. Not falling into freedom. And the storyline is your sort of making. The love is taken could be what we're meant to be.
Hey everyone, Derek here to give some first impressions of Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth for the 3DS. Now, I did plan to do a Game & Watch and even recorded one, but unfortunately everything got messed up sound-wise, so I have only my voice and none of the actual sound from the game, and I didn't feel that was proper to the game to run it like that, and I honestly couldn't, it would just be too much to re-record what I got there to have those genuine first impressions, to explore everything and everything else. So I thought I'd do a bit of a shorter video since that Game & Watch would have gone for almost over an hour, and just sort of give some first thoughts about the game. Because I've never actually played the original Persona Q. I have it, but just never took the time to play it since I hadn't played Persona 3 or 4 at that point. It was one of those things where I planned to do it after I played those games and then just never got around to it. But Q2 is already very different from what you'd expect from a normal Persona game. This is very much a dungeon crawler, and I was aware of that going into the game, but I didn't realize how much of that it was. So one of the common things with games releasing on the 3DS is, why not put that on the Switch? And, well, Q2 actually has a pretty good reason for not doing that. And that would be the sheer fact that you need the touchscreen in this game, because as you're exploring each area, you're actually filling in a map. And it kind of does it for you where it shows you the squares you've been, but you need to put in the walls yourself, and you can mark where treasure chests are, you can mark where shortcuts are, there's all these other things that you can do to fill in the map and kind of make it your own, because you can use different colors, you can do whatever really you want and make it your map, and it's kind of necessary if you want to be able to explore everything. So yeah, it actually does justify the fact that it is on the 3DS. That said, the production values of the game are top notch. Everything's done in that chibi art style, but they all look good, and there's a ton of voice acting in this game. Unfortunately, though, it's only in Japanese, but it's kind of cool to listen to the Japanese voice actors for the first time, as I played in English when I played Persona 5. But, you know, it works, but it doesn't quite get the same, and I wish there was sort of like an auto go option, like for the text, like a line finishes and the next one will start up, and you can kind of do it that way, especially since, you know, it's hard for me to tell, did they finish that sentence or do they want to keep talking? It doesn't matter that much since you can just skip through it. But as far as the gameplay, it took about an hour to get to the actual stuff, maybe a little less depending on how quickly you blow through all the talking, but it does take a while to get everything set up to the point where you're actually playing the game, kind of like any past Persona game. And really, I feel like the pacing is a little bit slow when it first starts out, just because they feel the need to have every single character talk. And considering this takes place basically before the very last palace, and those of you who have played Persona 5 know what that means, you basically have the full lineup of the Phantom Thieves, and yes, including him, and yeah, it's one of those things where you can play this without having played Persona 5, but you'll definitely get a little bit more out of it. But because you also have this huge cast of characters, everybody needs a chance to talk, and it can get a little overwhelming of just people saying one thing and then kind of needing every other character to react to that thing, or explaining everything like this. There's a huge cast here, and it can kind of get bogged down because of that. That's really my only major complaint, though, because the music is fantastic and the game does play pretty well. You have 5 characters in your party, and you're still looking for weaknesses, you're still finding ways to defeat the enemies and make your way through, and they have these interesting thing called foes that wander certain areas, and They are pretty much instant death type things. You do not want to get in their way, but they move when you do in the dungeons. And yeah, it actually is kind of fun to kind of dodge them, mark where they're going so you know, and know where to stay out of as far as that goes. Again, the map is highly customizable, and I've never really played a game like this before, but I kind of dig it. It works with the Persona aesthetic, and yeah, it's just all kind of fits. Now, the characters from Persona 3 and 4 are in this game as well. I have not met them yet. Maybe a few of the side characters from those games, but nothing up to that point. So, don't really know what to say about that as far as all those are going. I've basically only played for about 2 hours, 3 hours so far. And most of that has been story related. Now, I did just unlock, and this was after the Game & Watch where I was trying to get to a save point, the ability to have a sub-persona. So you have your main persona, and then you can equip different sub-personas. And I don't know how you get different others beyond this point. It might be rewarded automatically. You might be able to find them as you explore the dungeons, stuff like that. But it's interesting because every character has their main persona and then a sub-persona that they can equip. And if it's sort of along the same level as them, you'll get stat bonuses. However, if it's a way lower level, that character will sort of take stat decreases. So, the whole idea of having multiple personas is still here, and it applies to all the characters rather than just the main protagonist, Joker. So there are different ideas, and one of the key things that I learned very quickly is that you have so little SP in this game. I would run out so quickly, and fortunately it's pretty easy to get back to the main theater where you can go to the concession stand and work on buying new equipment and upgrade things, and you'll get a full heal right there as well. Plus, it's just a good idea to come back so you can actually afford everything and get those increases, because you do have 5 different characters to take care of, and you got to sort of balance that all out. But I haven't felt like there's been a ton of grinding, and I haven't gotten into a ton of different battles as well. Like the rate seems pretty manageable, though it can definitely be tricky just because you do blow through SP really quickly. That said, whenever you have use a weakness or get a critical hit, you'll go into what's known as boost mode. And in boost mode, your next physical attack is much stronger, or if you use magic, it'll cost no SP. So it's a pretty good system that has a nice little bonus beyond just getting an all-out attack. And if you finish with an all-out attack, you get item bonuses and whatnot, and you drop enemies drop items that you can then sell and earn a little bit more cash and whatnot. So I'm not quite sure, for those of you who are already familiar with Persona Q, how different that is from the original, but just going into this game, I'm having a lot of fun, much more than I expected, and I like how it justifies being on the 3DS. Again, the music is utterly fantastic, and even the cinema aesthetic that they're going with for this game works really well. Like, you're jumping into the screen, kind of like what you did in Persona 4 with jumping into the TV screen. And the first dungeon they have here is based around seemingly Kamoshida from Persona 5, where he's Kamoshida Man, a superhero that enforces his brand of justice, and so of course that it's a little off there, and that doesn't quite fit. But the idea that you're going through this dungeon right now as part of the cinema is all to find Makoto and Haru, who have gotten lost in their transportation from Mementos to this weird cinema's place that everybody kind of got affected by, including 2 new characters called Nagi and Hikari. I don't know what their purpose is yet, other than Nagi runs a general store and Hikari is kind of nervous around people in the same way Futaba was. So, there's those aspects. The plot has me curious enough to see what they need to do in order to get out and what new things they'll toss our way. That sort of thing. But just in a general sense, I actually did have a lot of fun, and if you're up for more of a dungeon crawling RPG, I think this is a really good one, and honestly a pretty great way to just cap off the 3DS's lifespan with a very solid game and an original game. So that's pretty cool. But I'm trying to think of anything else to really mention about, and nothing's coming to mind. Again, I'm just not that far in to give a ton of new details, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full review of this game or not, just because because E3 is coming up, don't really have a lot of time to play, and yeah, it might be a little tricky in that regard. But I still want to give my first impressions, and I'll probably keep playing it on my own time, so maybe when it comes out I can give a full set of thoughts and talk about it. That way people can tell whether they actually want to pick up the game or not. But I think it's worthwhile as of right now. And again, it's very early in for an RPG, so it might just be a good first impression. But hey, it has a good first impression. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Persona Q2 in the comments below. Let me know if you plan on picking up this game or not. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Persona, including the upcoming Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers, the Phantom Strikers, and other things gaming as well. Until next time, guys. Bye.